The AGM-154A JSOW, as employed in BMS 4.33 under Update 1, is a glide bomb that guides to itself to its target and dispenses about 200 submunitions consisting of high explosive, fragmentary and incendiary ammunition. It is perfect for soft-skinned vehicles, lightly armoured vehicles and stationary aircraft, for example. This video will show you how to employ these weapons in BMS 4.33U1 to the best of my ability. We'll be focusing on the AGM-154A today, and I have a frags mission here for the training, so give me plenty of time to use it. So we're going to take off from Pohang Air Base. We'll make our way out westwards and then dogleg it north to enter the Kotar Range. From Kotar Range we'll get ourselves in from steers 3 and 4. We'll be weapons hot by steer 3 and inbound steer 4. On target is steer 5, egress to the north is 6, and out of Kotar range to steer 7. Steer 7 will be my transit flight home, off to steer 8 through reference point Dabo, and inbound, hopefully catching the ILS needle somewhere around about somewhere over the coast here. So that's the mission. Let's see how it goes. And what I'll put in the photos description, what I'll put in with this is the photo imagery that I've got for this, which consists of the map that I made a few videos ago. Annotated with all of the stuff that I would use if I had such a map equipped. Let's have a quick look at the loadout. Now, the text doesn't really render that well in Falcon BMS because hey, it's an old game. But what I have here on my loadout is a couple of the training systems, the ASQT 50s, purely just for looks today. I like to put them on when I know that I'm doing training. I'm carrying a couple of live 120 Bravos they will be used to simulate captive ones, because we don't have captive ones in this particular model. And we have here and on here the affected the weapons, AGM-154A JSOW. And the idea behind this is it's a smart glide bomb, wings that will pop out the sides, out here and out here to glide on the target, extending its range, and it will follow a flight plan that I will show you how to set up in the cockpit, and dispense all kinds of nasty stuff all over the target area. It's a cluster munition. Okay. Into the 2 inboard bags are 370 gallon drop tanks. I'm carrying an ECM pod, targeting pod, and I'm not carrying a harm targeting system because I'm not bringing harms. And there's the game. Let's give this a save. Okay, so we've got ourselves a cold and dead F-16. I'll do a quick ramp start just to let you guys see how you're going to configure your JSOWs from scratch, and we'll see how this goes.
111, Ho Hong approach. Runway 08 for takeoff.
Okay. I'm not expecting to need flares, but you can never be too careful. No, RWR works, and now I'm deaf. Oh shoot, didn't set the presets there.
Cowboy 1, Ho Hong approach. 2987.
Alright, now let's just see how the INS is getting on. We're getting there, we're getting there. Okay, so aligned. Okay, so we got ourselves a good bird.
Cowboy 1-1, Ho Hong approach. Runway 08 for takeoff.
And the runway's right out front. That's perfect. Okie dokie. And flight plan looks good. Stores are programmed right. And we'll do this when we get in the air, but this is what you'll need to do first. You'll need to go power on. Then I'll explain what the other options look like and how you're going to use them. Okay.
Cowboy 1-1, ready for departure. Taxi, runway 08. Hold short.
Take that as good. Brakes work, that's fine. Helps if you use your nose wheel steering though.
Cowboy 1-1, ready for departure. Taxi, runway 08. Hold short.
No, I'm not going to hold short. I'm the only guy in the world right now. Don't have to worry about traffic. Okay, we are good. So run up the engine, got the brakes on. God, I wish I had some rudder pedals right now. We'll rotate. I like to rotate around about 180 degrees, it works for most situations. Especially when you're Cat 3. Disable the nose wheel steering so we don't roll over the place. And brakes off. Slowly advance the throttle up and burner. Got a little bit of a push to the left there. That's why we've got a little bit of a wind. And up we go.
Cowboy 1-1, Ho Hong Tower. Resume on navigation.
Yeah, you can see by the fact that the flight path marker is slightly off to the right, we've got one heck of a wind going on there. Alright. And it's looking like a pretty good day for a fly. Does it not? And we'll chop the throttle back just a smidge. Okay, so while I'm sitting waiting for nothing to happen, let's go ahead and get the targeting pod all configured up. I'll have a little review at the store systems. So, a little bit of a stutter. Okay, so what you'll need to do well in advance, part of your fence in probably, is you're gonna have to power them on. Now you'll see it says INT there. That's the sensors in the weapon starting up and spooling up. There's an inertial navigation system and GPS to get a fix, and you'll see the number 2 there at the moment. That says we have 2 of them. Now it says A10. That is the lowest state of capability. Most of the time that isn't going to work. It'll then go down to 8, 6, 4, 2, and so on. It'll count itself down basically. Once it's counted down, you'll have a system. You'll have systems at work. And that's our targeting pod coming online now as well while we're at it. And it looks like our laser is armed, and you see the T there means it's in training mode, so let's go ahead and change that as well. Now I get asked this all the time, how do you change the laser, so I'll answer that again. Once you're in this mode, go down there, press any of these buttons you want, doesn't matter which. Now it changes to blinking, and make sure you press enter. That's it now set. Alright, coming up on steer 2, we're going ahead and bank the plane and make for steer 3, that's our entry point. Now when you make turns, it slows down the movement. Oh, we're going a little fast here. Let's get this wing flutter down a bit, that's bad for the jet. Right, so we need to stay under 320 by the looks of it. Yep, these things add a lot of drag onto your plane, and that wing flutter is very bad. You also don't want to be pulling more than a couple of G's on the plane when you're carrying these things. You are basically a bomber. You are not a fighter anymore. So yeah, as I was saying, and back to the Air Grandmaster mode. Okay, we now have power on, and it says BIT, which means built-in test. We can test the missile and realign it if we wish to, but with it saying, with it having no values next to the number 2, the quantity, the weapon quantity, we can presume that the weapons are good and stable. Now you're wondering what the alphabet soup down here is. End game entry altitude, EGAA, is 700 feet. That means when it's on its when it's 700 feet above the target, it'll make its final dive and release. Think of it kind of like the burst altitude, but not quite, because that's handled by the system. ROB is okay. It's the point at which it starts its terminal, so it's also going to be starting to move make moves at 4 miles from the target. Now this is how many bombs you're dropping, and their position denotes the way they're being stacked. So this is a single. This means spaced side by side, and it says 0 feet below it. You can specify a gap. So you can specify 10, 15, 20, anywhere up to 999 feet basically. And the next one is vertical spacing. So it's going to go, as we're flying right now, it would go north to south as opposed to east to west. And these are obviously designed so that you can spread them along a convoy. I'm carrying 2, so I'm not going to demonstrate them both. I'm just going to launch them one at a time. So single is fine. And the control panel gives us a few extra ways of changing them. So attack azimuth. You can actually specify that they come in from a certain direction. So even if I'm not attacking from the north, I can have them fly in from the north. What denotes that is that when they get to within 4 miles of the target, they start their attack pattern. And when they are 700 feet above the target, 700 feet from the target, that's above the target, that's when they start their final glide dive. The initial entry into that 700 feet is denoted by when you release. So basically the JSOW will aim for a point 700 feet above the target before it will burst open. Think of it as the burst height, although it's not strictly true because this is the point where it makes its final gain. This is basically where it makes its final decision to dive down and find the enemies. And that's the major ways that you can play with it. There isn't a weapons panel as such. There isn't a control panel for this system. It's treated like a dumb bomb, basically, or rather a guided bomb. Bring me back my HSD. There we go. So at this point, we could theoretically start looking up contacts on the Kotar range using the radar, which is what I think we'll do. And big surprise, a blue dot, a big pale dot on the ground motion tracking system right above there. We'll go ahead and use the pinky switch to zoom in once more, and we're seeing a few dots. Now let's see if we can get sharper resolution with DBS1. Slightly. DBS2 is the final stack. This is maximum resolution off of the ground motion radar, and you can see we've got a vertical blob running north to south. Now I happen to know that the targets I'm looking to engage are after that. It's a stack of old M2s, which have not been found on the targeting pod yet because, well, they're over 30 miles away and the targeting pod's vision isn't so good up until, about 25 to 20 mile nautical. So we're just going to have to keep flying our waypoints. That said, we're going to head and fence in, so switch is hot. And £10,000 worth of fuel, that's plenty for this run. So the presets are all in there. When I change back to master mode for outer ground, we should be preloaded and ready to rock, basically. Okay, we're starting to pick up contacts. And I'll take that as a good read up. And now I can see the range just with my actual vision. Right over there. Looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and skip steer 3, it'll give me a better entry. By just making straight for steer 4 now. We're going to start going heads down now and start trying to find contacts. So now I can use the radar, I can use the targeting pod, I can use anything I really want, but seeing as how I've got radar contact there already, let's go ahead and start with that. Now we're getting a bit closer, we're getting a bit more definition. We're only 20 miles away after all. Let's go ahead and get DBS2 on the go and see what definition we can pick up. Now you can see a lot more detail there, that's fantastic. And I like the look of this blob right here. Let's send that over to the targeting pod. Hit cursor 0 and I'll slew over to wherever I've got targeted at the moment. There's a cloud in the way. Come on. Shifty shifty. We're going to start making our turn. Now, we can engage using radar only. That's perfectly permissible. If these clouds don't clear, I'm probably going to end up having to do that. Okay. So, as you can tell, that's the thing. This is the thing with radar, though. It's never quite as accurate as you'd like. So we can correct it with this guy. Okay, so what we do now is we are just going to fly to the bomb release queue. Now the higher you go, the further the bomb can glide. So if you're able to, I would always suggest get some speed and some altitude to really make the most of this guy. In fact, yeah, I've overshot the target. So we're going to take a reset on this. Now you see I've got range outlet, I've got range parameters for wherever it is I'm pointing. However, I'm not pointing at what I want to be pointing at, so we're just going to reset the cursor. Let's see where that puts us. Get me back on steer point, please. There we go. Alright, well that now is me ready to find and engage the that's close enough. We then go to area track mode, which gives me a little bit more precise control. Now, I know these are cluster bombs, so I don't need to be mega super hella accurate, but if you start putting in errors now, you'll just regret them later. Okay, cool. So we're now at a really good altitude to let this thing glide, and now you can see that as I turn, I no longer get parameters because I need to be wings level for these guys to work. Good news is I've given myself plenty of speed, plenty of room, and plenty of altitude. These things can glide all the way in. And now that I'm starting to get wings level, I'm 90 degrees off bore sight, sorry, 80 degrees off bore sight, and it's still able to divert off. I could release now and I watch it fly off and turn to my right, but I, being a stickler for capability, would much rather straighten the plane up and give this JSOW all the energy I can give it. JIZ, the JDAM is in the zone. Nothing else, you cretins. Get your mind out the gutter. One away! Now, I don't have buttons for trim down because I'm a freaking moron, so I am going to put on the go ahead and pop on the autopilot and let it handle that. Acme should be rolling for this, and you'll note that everything has been handled wonderfully. And you can now see my JSOW rolling through the sky. The wings split open, it flies towards its target. Note the altitude, 20,000 feet. And it's coming up 4 miles away surely by now, so it's going to start its terminal point. There we go, boom, it's 4 miles in, so it's going to start its glide path. So now it's pointed itself at the target, it's going to start gliding down. At 700 feet above the target, it's going to straighten out, fly and turn to the north, and dispense. Here we go, here we go, here we go, and it should split any moment now. Boom! We got effect on target. And everything is awesome. Now, here's where you suspend your disbelief, because I'm going to do the great big reveal for you. JSOW is dispensed along a column. The bomb just strikes because of a limitation in the engine, but you can see I've got fires going from the impact point all the way north. The reason why we have fires going is because this is a combined incendiary mix of inside the CBU, so it always looks pretty intense. Like, there's no getting away from that. These things can utterly devastate armoured columns if you can get weapons on target and find them. So much so that some squadrons, virtual air squadrons, will not use them because they are ridiculously OP. You can end an entire column with 1 or 2 of these, so imagine what a flight of 4 humans smart enough to know how to employ them can do. Now I'm going to walk my final one just offset it further north, correction south rather, and finish up what's left of the target range. And I've literally engaged, and if this worked, I should have engaged pretty much everything on the target range that I want to. So I have selected the contact using the targeting pod and the FCR, combination of the FCR to find the targets and the targeting pod to fine tune it basically. Grab to watch my airspeed. There's the contact on the front. I'm going to wings level. Weapons on target. Weapons away. 9 miles out, so this should...
Caution.
Yep, I know. Cat 1, please. There we go. And I'm just going to pop this on autopilot and let this one do its thing. And you see me popping away like that. And once we get to... It's pretty much level with me, so in about 2 miles or so, it's going to dive. Here we go. Dive, dive, dive. Go. That's it, approaching its end state now. And shkabam. It will then disperse a cloud of weapons on target. And just like that, I have put down everything in front of that, and the utter devastation is real. Now I have a little bit of time left, so I'm going to have a bit of fun. Now you guys know why I love Track IR.
Altitude. Altitude.
Coming in for my favourite style of strafe, the long raking pass. There's the pepper unwinding. Wings level. Burp.
Altitude. 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 Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up.
Okay, I've had about as much fun as I'm willing to go with for that. Alright, so in this mission we just covered how to employ the JSOWs. You basically find a target using your usual means, FCR, targeting pod, whatever you have. You TMS up and select them like you would any other aircraft or ground force weapon, and you drop anywhere inside the bracket that's drawn when your wings level and on target. The moment you hold the button down, you'll deploy, but you should only deploy it within the weapon's parameter range. It's anywhere inside that range though. And I hope that gives you some help there. Next thing I'll do is I'll try and give you an idea of what landings look like, at least when I do them. So we'll go ahead and fly off to the range, go ahead and fly out the range. We are, how far away? There's 70 miles from target. That's perfectly reasonable. Cover that in no time. Okay. So just in the interest of speed, distance slightly quicker to land to the alternate, so we'll pretend that we have a situation there and that we need to land at the alternate. Just I know my TACAR is going nuts right now. I'm just looking up the alternate, that's JSOW 26 X-ray. So let's give ourselves a bit of radio navigation practice here. So we're going to press TILS, type in 26 and 26. Oh, no, of course. There we go. We need to have this blank field selected first. So 26, enter, and that's there. You see, TACAN is entered in now. If I go into the blank field again, ILS for JSOW is 109.3 according to my chart. And I'm not sure what the heading is. We'll just have to see how that looks. Let me look that up. JSOW ILS 109.3, actives are 8 and 26. Perfect. We're coming in from the east, so we'll ask for course of 080 for now. And that is that in there. Let's talk to them on 269.5. And distance 38 miles. That's way more like it. Alright. There's my little cross-country mission for today. Go ahead and give me a bearing there. Ooh. Oh. 282. Can do. This is the bit where I test my navigational capabilities here and see if I got this right. So if I got this, and if I did get this right, we should be passing over town. Oh yes! Perfect. I know exactly where I am. So basically a straight shot west, and we'll be on JSOW. We just have to go over what's left of MOA 10. Wow. That's fantastic. That moment when all that time making that map finally paid off. Alright, we're coming up for 30 miles. I am just going to try and see if I can get... Give me the landing runway, please.
Cowboy 11, Heat-Chon approach, runway 08.
Oh, fantastic. And if I could also get QNH.
Cowboy 1, Heat-Chon approach, 2991.
Okay. And last but not least,
Cowboy
go ahead and give me
11,
vectors.
inbound for landing.
Cowboy 11, descend to 5000, maintain 300 knots, turn left heading 220. Cowboy 11, maintain 250 knots, turn left heading 260, runway 08. Cowboy 11, descend to 5,000, maintain 250 knots, turn
Alright.
left heading 255.
Now, if you're willing to follow the ATC, and there's the tower in sight, they will direct you to a point where you should be able to get ILS catch up and basically land the bird in. Now, this is perfect weather. In reality, I'd land visual, but
Altitude.
just for the sake of practice,
Altitude.
I'm going to take an ILS approach for the moment. Which is why I'm following the ATC instructions, because they're going to set me up right on top of it.
Cowboy 11, descend to 5,000, maintain 250 knots, turn right heading 260, runway 08. Cowboy 11, descend to 5,000, maintain 250 knots, vectors to right base, runway 08.
Okay, great, awesome. Okay,
Cowboy 11, descend to 4,000, turn right heading 265. Cowboy 11, descend to 3,000, maintain 230 knots, turn right heading 360.
okay,
Vectors to final,
that's
runway
way too slow.
08.
Definitely gear out. Gears out.
Cowboy 11, turn right heading 025.
Ooh, big deceleration, that drag.
Cowboy 11, turn right heading 025.
Yeah, on it.
Cowboy 11, turn left heading 025.
Oops, slight overshoot. I'll be getting needles shortly, I reckon.
Cowboy 11, turn left heading 020. Cowboy 11, turn right to final approach course 080. Check speed.
Alright, visual runway. We're hoping to get needles soon. 109.3, that's the right channel. Very strange. Should be getting needles by now. I suppose I'm slightly out of approach. Just any day now.
Good morning. Cowboy 11, Yichan Tower, cleared for landing, runway
What,
08.
3 miles out and
Check
I'm not
gear
getting
down.
the glide slope? That's bullshit. Okay, I've done something wrong with ILS, but I'm just going to go with it, seems how this is one heck of a crosswind by looks at 13 knots. Oh shit. Well, that explains a lot, I guess. We are going way too fast. Chop that throttle back down a bit. Stay on the... So basically, ideally, you want that flight path marker to not sink into the ground. Shit. And you want it around about there, but you also want your pitch. There we go. That's looking much prettier. Oof, that was ropey. A little bit of correction on the rudder there. That crosswind though, eh? Oh shit. Alright, let's throw the brakes on before I run out. 300. 200. That's alright, I didn't need my eyeballs anyway. That's so close. That's a gnarly landing. Spent too long chasing for the ILS there. Should just stayed visual. Oh man. Well, I'll take this turn off wing here. I'll do. There we go. Oh, damn it. Nope. Screwed that parking up. There we go. And stop. Our survey says that'll do. I'll take it.